Michelle, please, to come stage for ventilation duty.
Hello everyone, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased to be there, and I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to discuss with you some recent observation regarding physiology of ventilation during cardiopulmonary resuscitation. This is my conflict of interest. I am directly involved in the development of a new system of ventilation for cardiopulmonary ventilation, and I also be previously involved with Vigo in this system, which is a big heart device for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Let's start with a very basic concept of physiology regarding ventilation. Probably you know that during cardiopulmonary resuscitation, ventilation is due, in one hand, to the ventilation related to the chest compression. Each chest compression generates some tidal volume, which is usually very small, from 80, 50 milliliters to 0 in some patients. In the other hand, ventilation is completed or not by additional insufflation with a bag or with a more sophisticated device like a ventilator. And what is interesting is to discuss the part of the ventilation due in one hand to chest compression and in the other hand the need or not to add some ventilation. We recently reported in journal Applied Physiology discussion of the concept of ventilation during CPR based on a very simple bench model specifically designed for CPR completed by clinical observation. And we can resume our observation, our findings, by these two following slides. The first findings in this paper is that during cardiopulmonary resuscitation, in this slide on a real patient, out-hospital cardiac patient, you can observe the flow, the airway pressure measure at the endotracheal tube, at the airway opening. And on the bottom line, this is a reconstitution of the lung volume during resuscitation. And there is a pause of chest compression for ECG electrocardiogram analysis. And you can see that on this patient, the reduction of lung volume below the FRC during chest compression is extremely huge, minus 600 milliliters, which is a huge reduction of lung volume that is very important because it may interfere with oxygenation and compromise oxygenation, but also stress the lungs during the resuscitation. And the second observation, represented in this other tracing from an out-hospital cardiac patient, is the behavior of what I call lung airway closure during resuscitation. Because of the low lung volume during resuscitation, the airway diameter is very reduced. And as expected in this example, when you reduce the PEEP level, the positive pressure at the airway opening, from 3 centimeters of water to 0, you can observe that the entering flow into the thorax during each decompression, this is the volume due to chest compression, very small, you can see that this flow entering into the thorax is flow limited, suggesting that during the decompression, there is an active airway collapse, an active airway closure. Not the other one, but something into the lungs. And you can see that the pressure measured at the airway opening that is the transmission of the chest compression into the thorax, is no longer transmitted, thus demonstrating a complete occlusion of the lung airways during this cardiopulmonary resuscitation at zero pressure and the airway opening. So this could be a big concern for the efficacy of ventilation during cardiopulmonary resuscitation. To address this specific point, we had the unique opportunity to work with our colleague of the Université de Québec at Trois-Rivières, and this is the authors, and the opportunity to work in a specific lab that works with specific cadavers. It's a till cadavers is a specific preparation that maintain the cadavers without any rigidity, which is a unique opportunity to learn to address the question of the respiratory mechanics during cardiopulmonary resuscitation. This is also the unique opportunity to put into the human corpse an esophageal balloon and pleural pressure sensor to measure the pressure generated by chest compression into the thorax, which, as you know, is very important for circulation, and to study different strategy of ventilation. This cartoon to explain exactly what we did on this model. This is a resuscitation on the corpse, and we had the idea to put into the human corpse, the cadavers, some constant insufflation CO2 as a surrogate of a circulation. Let's suppose a constant circulation due to chest compression generating a low CO2 production. And what we measure into the thorax of the human corpse is a change in intrathoracic pressure measured based on esophageal balloon, but in addition with pleural sensor in different parts of the thorax. And at the same time, we measure in the other side, at the airway opening, in the side of the ventilator, the airway pressure, the PP airway, which represents the transmission of this intrathoracic pressure into chest compression to the airways, and also the CO2. Usually the CO2 is changing like this due to chest compression. And our hypothesis was that this setup may help to understand what happened in terms of lung volume and airway closure during ventilation of cardiopulmonary resuscitation. This is an illustration of what we observe in a given cadavers. The chest compression were standardized by using Lucas, so the chest compression is constant. And in this example, we move the positive and expiratory pressure from 8 to 3 centimeters of water. You can see the PP airway, remember, that reflects the transmission of chest compression at the airway opening, and on the bottom line, the CO2 tracing. Interestingly, you can see that the CO2 is changing, is oscillating according to the chest compression, and the PP airway reflects a very good transmission of the pressure generated by the Lucas into the ventilator. When we decrease the PIP level to 3 centimeters of water, there is a significant decrease of the transmission of the airway pressure, but also a significant change of the pattern of CO2 during chest compression. Oscillation disappear, and the CO2 pattern is like this, suggesting that this change is directly due to the reduction of lung volume and the lung airway closure. And it was interesting to think that this PP airway and this pattern of CO2 may be interesting to address the permeability or the closure of the airway, lung airway during cardiopulmonary resuscitation. This is all the measurement done on cadavers, and we observe a good correlation between the PP airway transmitted at the airway opening and measured on the ventilator, and the percentage of CO2 transmission measured by a new indicator that we define to characterize the oscillation of CO2, meaning suggesting that low PP airway and non-oscillating CO2 pattern may assess the airway closure and then suggest some difficulty for ventilation and probably a compromise for that may compromise oxygenation and CO2 elimination. Okay, this is far from real physiology because it's a bench at the beginning on cadavers. What happened in real patients? In my area in Annecy, we manage cardiac arrest with this new ventilator on the mode of ventilation I invented with cardiopulmonary ventilation. It's a system that just permits to perform continuous chest compression without interruption, and the system combines at 2 levels of pressure to add some additional ventilation to the chest compression ventilation. This is the CO2, and this is a monitoring of the quality of chest compression. Anyway, we use it on the clinical practice, and it's interesting because we can look at the black box of the ventilator to reconstitute what happened during the resuscitation. This is an example. This is the cardiopulmonary x-axis is the time, 35 minutes. This is CPR before intubation in green. The green point is the volume because this is on the mask, there is a lot of leaks. This is on red, the PP airway, suggesting assessing chest compression, and in yellow the CO2, which is 0 because of the leaks. After intubation, you can see that the CO2 is there and consistent with chest compression in red and some tidal volume due to the ventilator. You can observe that during the ROSC, there is a significant increase, like previously described, of CO2. There is a constant ventilation or no more chest compression, of course, because this is a ROSC. And at that time, there is a new cardiac arrest, so PP assessed that chest compression are resumed, the CO2 decrease, and ventilation is changing according to chest compression. Just to say that using this method, we have a lot of information of what happened in terms of CO2 ventilation during the resuscitation. And we have now much more than 65 patients, an observational study, and I put on this graph all the circles are all the 65 patients, and this is the distribution, the distribution of the CO2 transmission coefficient. Remember, a low coefficient below 30% means a non-oscillating CO2 signals during chest compression, while on the top, a high coefficient of transmission reflects a highly oscillated CO2 pattern that probably reflect open lung airways during resuscitation. This is another tracing done by the scope of the ventilator, and interestingly, in this series of patients, almost 30% of patients without hospital cardiac arrest had a PP and a CO2 suggesting a complete lung airway closure that may impair oxygenation as well as CO2 elimination, and that probably suggests that we need some additional ventilation. This is, of course, an observational study, and we have to complete that. And interestingly, but it's a very small series of patients with shockable rhythm, all of these patients with shockable rhythm are open airways. No of shockable rhythm have closed airways. So my conclusion, ventilation during CPR depends on both chest compression in one end and additional ventilation from the bag, the ventilator, or another device in the other end. low FRC, low lung volume during CPR is associated with the risk of lung airway closure in almost 30% of out-hospital cardiac arrest. TCO2 during CPR is definitely very complex to interpret, and probably the pattern of CO2 could be interesting to give some information not only on circulation but also on the airway, lung airway permeability. And finally, this lung airway closure that we observe is important to keep in mind because it may compromise CO2 exhalation but also effective oxygenation. Thank you very much for your attention.
We have a question down the front, please.
Please, from Limburg. Jean-Christophe, very nice work, I think, very good, and I like it especially because it gives us something at the end to guide our resuscitation maneuvers. So.